Welcome to today's Daily Awesome. It is May 3rd. We're recording this in Austin, Texas, and it's very late. It's almost actually May 4th. It's 11:33 p.m. We're on our Men's Development Excellence call, and we are talking about get out of your own hell. See, if you have a war that you're fighting within yourself, it will infect everything around you. And that's what I see happening. And actually, how this came up is a little plug I'll give my buddy Terrence. Terrence, if you're a part of our groups, you know who Terrence is. He wrote this book, Militant Nice Guy. And the reason why I'm holding this up is because in our Austin Men's Development group earlier today, you can get this on Amazon or wherever, or if you sign up for the Men's Development Excellence, you get one for free that's actually signed by him. Boom. Well, you can't really see that, but it's signed by him. But anyway, the thing is somebody was asking a question about masculinity, and we'll get into the details about that a little bit later. But there's something that happens when you're not yourself, when you're not you, when you don't take responsibility for that. And let's just actually cut this really plain and simple. If you're not out socializing, if you're not out connecting with people, if your lines of communication are this, Facebook, the internet, Twitter, all this different stuff, YouTube, Instagram, if that's how you communicate, you're going to get a vast misinterpretation of the world, let alone yourself. And see, there's no surprise that the more that we buy into this idea of that we're going to get, who we are from connecting with people online. And we hear this, cliche over and over again, but we still do it. The more that we do that and don't get out and talk to somebody face to face, we build up a complete misperception of reality. We do not see life as it is. We stop seeing all the things that we value as distortions, as attacking, as these things which we're in great danger of. The war on masculinity, the war on women, rape culture, Black Lives Matter. And I'm not diminishing any of these issues because they're for real things if they're your thing. But if they're not your thing, man, worry about yourself. So a piece of advice was given to me. I remember I was 21 and I walked into this cafe. This guy, Brian, worked there, and he was a little bit older than me, actually quite a bit older than me. I said, "What's up, Brian?" And I was pissed off and I was gossiping about something. He goes, "Steve, I don't gossip about stuff because I have my own life to worry about." And it was one of those oh fuck moments because there I was involving myself with other people. So why do we do this? Why do we do this? Why does this happen? And I want to get to the upper levels of it and get into some philosophy because this is our men's development call and this is what we do on our men's development call. I mean, we speak every Wednesday for about 4 or 5 hours as a men's group. Get real. We're not afraid of being a man. We're not censoring our words. We've talked about erectile dysfunction. We've talked about getting screwed over, being harmed, having shitty situations happen to us in career and by women and all this sort of stuff. But we get into the answer, man. And so in this, one of the things that we were talking about was that when I'm talking shit about something, when I'm angry about something, it gives me one of the greatest opportunities to know about myself. Because whatever I'm angry about, whatever I'm trying to control out there, is not only most likely what I should be fixing within myself, but I don't see it. But also it shows me the solution of what can alleviate that problem. See, when I want to control something, that's usually because things are out of control in me. Not just that, but when I want to control something, man, one of the best things that I can learn is acceptance and patience and these spiritual principles to deal with them. And when we get into this, what is actually going to solve us in that problem and that solution is, man, not hating on shit online, not vilifying it, but actually looking at the solution of what we were born to do, which is to talk to people. And I hear this over and over again with men, and it is so ridiculous. And this all came out of a post where somebody was posting about, don't be a nice guy. I get why you shouldn't be a nice guy, but why are assholes, getting more women? And, it's a great valid point. If you are looking at the world, that's what you see. But here's the beautiful thing. And that post wasn't the thing which actually got me going. Because a lot of people ask, a very common thing, and we've all been there. We've all been there as men, and it frustrates us. Hence why I said, get Terrence's book, The Militant Nice Guy, because it will tell you that it ain't about being the nice guy or the bad dude or whatever. It's about being you. It's about being you and being able to connect with you and talk and project that to other people and live in the reality of that and not in the reality of what people think in the world out there, of what we see in social media or our many different outlets to enjoy ourselves, which are great and they're beautiful and they're not going anywhere. So why hate on them? But you need to get out there and connect and socialize with people. That is fucking key. Man, that is fucking something that you have to do as a human being to become functional. And in fact, I always talk about, you should watch The Myth of the Alpha Male speech that I gave in 2014 because it gives a very good breakdown on all these different things, why we need to be social. See, the interesting thing is when I can't be me, I focus on someone else. When I am out of the function of socializing, when I am out of the function of connecting with people, when I'm out of the function of going on dates, of having sex, of connecting with women, of interacting, of sharing who I am with somebody else and getting the real value of perhaps somebody sitting across me in a cafe, and we're not talking about anything because it's not a big deal, but I get that they value me. When that's not happening to me, it starts to look very good to be on Facebook and go, men are being attacked, or the pussification of male society, or how men get screwed over in divorce courts, or how women get screwed over, or how women are involved in this, strategic attack to make less than men and da-da-da-da. And I'm not even denying or getting into any of those facts. The fact of the matter is when I'm a fucking man, I don't give a shit about that. The fact of the matter is if I were a woman, in my sense of being a woman and in my sense of being social, I'm not going to give a shit about other people's problems that are 1,000 miles away. Yes, I will give a shit about my problems. I can give a shit about my problems. I can do those things. But you know what my personal story is of getting the bad end of the stick in life? And actually, I was kind of sharing this on the Austin Men's Development Board, is like, hey man, I'll be the first person to admit I grew up with a very good life. I grew up with a great life, man. I got a lot of advantages, upper middle class, there's a lot of great things there. But I spent all of my life taking that away. I've spent all of my life making poor decisions that I own responsibility for, but to points where I was fighting for my life when it came to addiction for many years, man. I know what that's like. I know how shitty that can be. This is stupid. That sucks. I know what it's like to fight for my life in a court case with my kids. I know what it's like to lose. I know what it's like to get shit on by different child support stuff. I know what it's like to get behind and be screwed in all the different ways. But guess what I got in my personal experience of that? And I get it. You go to the courts, and you go in front of a mediator, or you go in front of a judge, and you're doing some custody thing. A lot of times men get screwed. Yeah, it sucks. That's fucking shitty. I've lived it, okay? And if you don't, anyway, whatever. I've lived it. You know what I got from it? Don't fucking complain. You know what I got? I got a shitty thing happen, but guess what? I learned a great lesson of acceptance. And I learned that also if I wanted to change things, I needed to change them where they needed to be changed and not bitch about them to a bunch of people that are online talking about stuff that are just gonna congratulate me and get more angry and spread the anger that I feel. What does that do to you? What the fuck does that do? And what has it ever done for anybody? But what I do know is I've had my life hammered so hard that I was humble. And when I learned to be humble, I learned to find some solutions. And when I learned to find some solutions, that also involved stop bitching. And guess what? I've had a lot of shit happen to me. And if you want to hear my life story, well, you can watch my videos and hear it and all that sort of stuff. Or get to know me better yet, like on these calls. But I've done something, man, and it's great. And so this brings me to this next thing, is that we were talking about this nice guy thing and a couple of guys chimed in. But one dude in this, man, I don't get this shit. I don't get this shit. And men, whatever, you got to man up, you got to suit up. And that term is misused in so many different ways. But look, somebody writes in, and I'll actually share two things because there's another group where stuff got crazy. Oh man, get out and talk to people. Fuck, get out and talk, make a connection, give somebody a hug, shake somebody's hand. Ask somebody about love and see if they feel it. And if they think you're asking them a big question, man, what are we all here for? But this guy, he writes in, he's like, I think more and more, I'm paraphrasing it because I don't have it in front of me. I think more and more that to be powerful and to assert yourself as a man is frowned upon in our society. In fact, it's indoctrinated that we should not be that guy. So the real question is, why can't you be that arrogant asshole? You know who says that? You know who says that? somebody who doesn't socialize, somebody who's repressed. Because here's the thing, right? We talk a lot about purpose here. If I feel that my purpose and masculinity is under threat, if I feel that I don't have purpose in life and I need to do something, if I need to do something, I've been repressed. If I need to do something that is my born to be urge, whether that's sex, whether that's love, whether that's relationships, this heavy ambition inside of me that's driving me, if I have to do something, that's because it's been held down. So the number one thing that I need to do to stop feeling that, so I don't need to fucking fight everybody, so that I don't start thinking my assertion of masculinity is fighting with a guy over a parking space or somebody cutting in line with me, or that when my wife tells me to, pick up the broom or whatever shit, or pick up my clothes, which I'm like a total slob, that I don't think it's a personal attack on me. Because that would be really stupid. That's not what normal people do. That's what dysfunctional, fucked up people do that need to fix themselves. That's not okay. Okay? And that's not okay because it's not communication. Why would I want to put walls up in front of people that are close to me? Why would I want to put a wall up in front of a stranger that's in a grocery store that got a little bit too close? See, the thing is when I'm out of function of being myself, then man, what am I? What am I? I'm a constant repression that's constantly fighting to get out of. And there was another thing that was on this coaching group that was really cool. It's actually, they put this guy, he's in Ireland. Shout out to you, Paul. But awesome guy. And actually how I got to know him was I was doing research on a product, and he actually reached out to me and I talked to him. It was a great Skype call. I was like, man, you're fucking cool as shit. Let's talk. And he came on my Austin Men's Development Board. I'm like, feel free to advertise, man. I've never done anything with you, but you seem like totally legit. I know some people that have worked with you. You have a great network. So he put me on this coaching board of, I guess, guys that he knows. It's a great network. And this woman puts up a video. It's like, it was pretty cool, man, basically here's what it is. I'm a total guy, all right? Maybe I'm an asshole for saying this, but she's an attractive girl. She's talking. I just liked looking at her. I was like, man, this fucking hot chick. That's awesome. I was actually talking with my buddy last night. We were like, man, chicks have it so easy. Like, they post a picture up on Instagram and they just get tons and tons of stuff. And I was like, basically telling him, I was like, totally, totally true, man. But there's so many good parts about being a man. And he's like, fuck yeah, there are. It's like women and men both have like great attributes that we need to be ourselves to have. And so she was talking about being a woman's coach. It's great, man. It's talking about being a woman's coach and putting yourself out there in the world and what women do. And it doesn't make sense to me, right? And that's fine. It doesn't need to, right? It just means I'm into guy stuff. And I'm a men's coach. And I only talk to men, really. But if a woman were to retailer her words to make it sound good to men, that would be wrong. Just as if a man were to retailer his words so it has to sound good to all women or politically correct or whatever, that would be wrong, because it's impersonal, because there's an awesome interaction that happens with two people, a spiritual experience. It's amazing. It's the one thing that could change my mind, right? But the thing is that somebody started talking about like the pussification of society, and how men, and especially men in Sweden or whatever, they're lessening themselves, or in Northern Europe or whatever, and da-da-da. And, these are things that I've heard, and you read a lot about it, read a lot of stuff about it. But guess what? Who the fuck cares? Who fucking cares? In whose life are you living? Just like we say, when it comes down to all this image and shit with men and masculinity, and men basically going like, I don't want to be a pussy, and now like, why can't I be an arrogant asshole, and kings need to be risen from, and blah, 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 because you were shit on your life and you feel like a bitch. And so what does a fucking bitch do when he's got a dick up his ass and he doesn't know what to do? What does he cry about? He cries about being the man that made him a bitch. And all you want to do is be a bully. And let me just tell you, man, when you actually get that, if you fucking get that, because you won't, but when you actually get that, maybe you'll realize it might have just been better to go, hey, you know what? I've been hurt and I've been in pain, and maybe I need to get out of pain. But my biggest value in life and my biggest value in me is being real. And that can never hold a title for longer than a moment. Right now, I might be great. Right now, I might be hurt. Right now, I might be a nice guy. Right now, I might be a tough guy. Right now, I might be an arrogant, angry bastard or whatever. Right now I might be King Dick, and right now I might be broken up with my woman. But you got to get back to what is you. And there's a big difference between your ego, your want, and all this sort of stuff, and the true core of who you are. And that can only come from connection. If we ever rob that from ourselves, it's just as wrong and just as criminal as taking masculinity away from men, femininity away from women. You know, anybody's personal born to be traits away from who they are, just so it fits in our own world. Get out of your movements and causes. Get out of your cookie cutter ways of how things are supposed to work and start looking at why you have them. Most likely because some shit didn't make sense to you and hurt you. And you don't want to feel that again. And we all understand. That's why getting honest is such a high value. That's why being you is such a high value. And if you can't get out of yourself, go out and say hello to somebody. And man, hopefully it's somebody that you think you don't agree with. Because guess what? You might just make a friend. And if you make a friend with somebody who has all the traits that might not work for you, you know, maybe they're a feminist or a men's rights activist or a fucking Republican, Democrat, Trump supporter, Trump hater, whatever. And if you make a friend, it will show you that you being you and your human experience supersedes all of that shit. That's pretty sad when we've made connection, our authenticity, now a checklist of requirements that has to fit into a pigeonhole of somebody else just to have an experience. Man, get out, say hello, get out, hug someone, get out, love someone, get out, tell them they make you happy. And don't be afraid if they don't make you happy just to say it. But no, that doesn't need to achieve your identity of trying to get that repression off your back, man. Got a lot of people in this world. I know we're all jam-packed. We're searching for an identity. But all that matters is who you're experiencing what with now.